there's things that in this movie I saw that made me happy to be alive. I'm like, okay, we're still doing it. They're still allowing some things. That's awesome.
In this one, I mean, there was probably 5 shots, maybe, that I was like, oh, that's cool.
You don't look so good, Mom.
Nothing a big old hug and kiss from you won't fix.
Mom?
Mommy's with the maggots now.
What will be.
It's insane, right?
Art the Clown.
I'm something different.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Modern Horror Movie Talk. I'm your host, Tyler NIchols, and today we've got guest Lance Vlcek with us. Lance, how you doing?
Good, man. How you been?
Oh, just dealing with the world. Got a lot of cool stuff going on, and I can't talk about any of it. So just kind of how life goes.
I'm happy to hear you're working and kicking ass, man.
Trust me, I'll mention it on the show in the future once I actually can talk about it. But yeah, a bunch of cool stuff going on, and yeah, there's just been a lot of fun stuff. And I mean, I don't know about you, but April has just been crazy for horror movies. This is now the 3rd major horror movie release this month. That never happens.
In April. Yeah, no, it's good for us. So, hey, I get more to talk about. I mean, I've been in the theater more in the last, 90 days than I've been in the last year. So it's been a wild time. I'm happy to be doing this,
I will say I'm not much of a theater person, especially opening night. And so this has been quite the experience going on opening night to see these films.
Oh, I'll say this to everybody. I hate people, and I think people talk and people suck, and they ruin movies. If I could just have a theater to myself, that's all I want. I don't need a communal experience. I want the screen, the sound, and the space.
I could not agree more, because that's one thing that I try and do is whatever the most odd showtime is, that's what I will go to, because going to a theater where no one else is in it's the best, the absolute best.
Yeah. I want that. I just don't have the money. I'm just too poor to own a theater, but one day, one day.
That New Beverly Quentin Tarantino dream. I kind of got into our little intro section without even thinking about it, but we got to talk about what you drinking.
Nothing too fancy, man. I got some sugar-free pop, which I put some vodka in. It's hot outside. Today's going to be a beach day, so I decided I'm just going to kind of drink light and airy and vodka and Sprite. All right, so I was at Disney World the other day. I was at MGM Studios. My buddies and the kids and everybody I love came out there. I drove out and visited them. And Disney World's super cool. Like, really, it's not, if you're not an idiot and you're not being rude, like kids have their time, you don't get messed with.
Yeah.
So I just put a bunch of really shitty vodka in a water bottle. And I buy a pop, I mix it in, I call it a day. So I had a bunch of Disney World vodka left over, and so I mixed it with the Sprite I have at the house, because, good Sprite, good pop and pizza makes the world go round, and here we are.
Nice. Did you go on any fun rides at MGM Studios?
I won every single ride. I got everybody going to the Tower of Terror, the little kids. Took a while. I was bribing, I was lying, like a thief in the night. The kid's like, I'm scared. It's not even a scary ride. It's not. I was like, it just sits there. Whatever I could to get the kid on the ride. But I got the kid on the ride. It's my godson. And I found a smart thing. So I was like, hold my hand if you're scared, right? But him not knowing, I know the ride. It's my fucking favorite ride. So when we drop, I hold my hands up, forcing him to hold his hands up. And we're living life. Yeah.
I was actually at Disney in January, and I was not able to go on Tower of Terror because it was shut down, and I was so disappointed, because it's one of my favorite rides next to Haunted Mansion. I would have
said something. I would have been like, okay, awesome. Where's my give me something. I'm here for Tower. When Tower of Terror dies, or well, I shouldn't say dies, but it will one day be replaced. I assume. Like, I will take the day off work. I'll traverse probably a few miles off the Atlantic. And I'll sit there and have a moment. Yeah, I'm going to play a little bit of Into the Mystic and just kind of ponder the changing of the guard.
Well, I agree, and I guess I should even mention what I'm drinking, because you would think that I would be drinking the same thing that I have been drinking, but I got super self-conscious about the fact that I'm just drinking the same thing every episode. So I went out and got some wine, because I am a classy bitch, and this is some Riesling. Yeah, Very simple.
I would call white wine ever classy, What? Yeah, you're on your way.
It's the alcoholic's first choice. What's more classy than that?
White wine? Red, my friend, red.
Oh, no. I mean, I need it to be canned. That way I can gesture broadly, but I mean...
Well, listen, we're not saying Frank doesn't have good ideas.
I am loving this canned wine thing. I think it's brilliant. Right? I mean, I'm active, I'm gesturing with my hands, and I don't feel restricted. I mean, if I was holding a wine glass right now, I'd be spilling wine all over the goddamn place.
Yeah, well, look, we're not intervening on Frank for a lack of good ideas.
Well, that's for sure.
Before we get into the film today, I've really been enjoying getting into a little bit of a background, and I think that for this one, obviously, there's a major background because it's based on a franchise. So we have a new entry in a franchise. So Lance, what's your, and I already, if you've been around the channel, you know, because Arrow and the Head Show has been covering some Evil Dead lately, but what's your view on the Evil Dead franchise?
It's my favorite horror franchise. It's the one that I think I grew up on. I like schlock. I like gore. I like weirdness, and I think Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness encapsulate that entire vibe. It's a strange series. Continuity is really loose, and totally they're all over the place. But I think that's why I love them. I think I love them because they're so different. So yeah. It's very important to me. I should say this. I also love the TV show. I was so against the remake, man. I was such an ass. I was like, I'm not saying it. Fuck that. And I stood by it. But I saw it when it came out because the trailer looked good, and I absolutely love the remake. So really, at this point in my life, they haven't made anything I don't like. I should say that. What about you?
Yeah, I would completely agree. I think that the most important takeaway that I got from Evil Dead is to not really give much of a shit about continuity. Because I think that was something that really bugged me in watching like the Friday the 13th films, where I was like, why there's every film, things are changed and different. And it was finally the Evil Dead movies that kind of taught me that it doesn't matter. It's not important. And like you, my first experience with Evil Dead is actually Army of Darkness. So because of that, I have...
That's great.
It's so amazing. But because of that, I have a little different viewpoint than others, just in that I'm all for the humor. The humor is a big aspect for me. Though I love, like, the original is incredible, and I love how dark it gets. But it's the humor in Evil Dead that really gets me. And though I will say, I love the remake. The remake is phenomenal. As much as I say, like, oh, I like it when it's funnier, and I mean, the remake has like no laughs. It is very, very, very straightforward, just horror, and I love it. But
it works. This is why I saw it and why I still love it. Is they didn't replace Ash. They don't have a character named Ash. Like if you have Ash in this series, it needs to A, be played by Bruce Campbell, and B, be witty, sardonic, and fun. Mm-hmm. And whether it's filled with gore or, I mean, I would say the show is probably my favorite tone because it actually has the intense gore, a couple creepy scenes. I mean, creepy is relative at this age. Yeah. But in terms of that, I 100% agree. But with the remake, and we'll get in this one, I do kind of disassociate with, like, I almost put them in a different dimension of movies because without Bruce, it's not the same. It's like it's just not. And I'm with you. So the humor in that sort of silliness, which is true to Raimi, is important to me.
Bruce is in the remake.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, have you
never watched the post-credit scene?
You mean where he goes, Groovy? That's not in the movie. Fuck that. That's not in the movie. No, it's not.
He has an IMDb credit. He has an IMDb credit.
He just showed up. Oh my God, I hate that. If he was a truck driver, I would have said, awesome. Really, he's in there. I'm like, he's in the fucking credits. He's supposed to be in this movie, supposedly somewhere, but I don't know if that's true or what context it would be in.
It makes me wonder if it's like one of those Scream 5 things with the to West things where it's like, yeah, technically Jamie Kennedy is in Scream 5 because of that. He even has like an IMDb credit because he's a voice during the toast, where it's like, is it like that? Because I was keeping an eye out, but yeah, I guess we've gone over our history with Evil Dead. So, Lance, non-spoiler, what'd you think of Evil Dead Rise? A twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable.
I think it is a good movie with a great third act.
Okay. Yeah. My reaction leaving the theater was, yeah, that was perfectly fine.
It's good.
Like,
it was a good movie. It's a good movie.
Perfectly fine.
I have some issues I would love to talk about. I have some things I absolutely loved. How about this? This is something that's important. I'm going to probably be slightly harder on this movie because of my love for the series. But I need to make this real clear. This is better than 90% of every horror movie that has come out. Soulless, boring, bland, fucking heartless. Like, I have issues, but I hold this series up a little higher. There's things that in this movie I saw that made me happy to be alive. I'm like, okay, we're still doing it. They're still allowing some things. That's awesome. I'm just going to say it might come off slightly negative, but I would still take this over almost anything I've ever gotten in terms of mainstream theater horror from fucking Ty West or James Wan or anybody of the ilk that is considered a classic guy today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just throw that out there because I don't want to get too much crap after this airs.
I think that's a good way to put it. So I think I need to also get that out there too, is that it's going to come across like I really hate this movie. However, I do not. Again, perfectly fine. However, there is a ton of people praising it and talking about all the positives. So I think conversely, when I notice so many negatives, that I just feel like they need to be discussed. And just like you said, compared to so many other horror films that are out, it's great. They did a really good job. In fact, there were several times while watching the movie, I had to essentially be like, okay, I'm not watching Evil Dead. I'm watching a different movie. And that made me like it more because the Evil Deadness of it is what I was the most disappointed with, because it doesn't feel like an Evil Dead movie to me. And we'll get into more of that in the spoilers, because there's stuff that I just can't talk about unless talking about spoilers. But this is like, without a doubt, this is easily my least favorite Evil Dead property, anything that is Evil Dead, like easily, like not even close.
I actually 100% agree. Though when you say not even close, I might fight you a little on this, but no, but I would say, if you're asking, this is my least favorite, absolutely. But again, that's a high curve because I also by saying it's my least favorite, I automatically want to start punching down on other movies, which I don't want to be that ever guy to do that. I don't want to be that guy, but I might even want to go to be like, yes, it's my favorite, but I can tell you about all these new ones that people seem to love that are complete dog shit.
Yeah.
So, again, this, for being my least favorite, had balls that I still don't see other movies do. So this is going to be a weird conversation, but I'm actually excited to have it because that's very important. Everybody's been saying this is a perfect movie. And it's one of those like, it's not though, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. So
it's really not.
We can have a good conversation and grand things, but I noticed that the remake didn't get nearly as much praise, and the remake, I think, is far superior.
Fede Alvarez is the one that directed the remake, and he actually was recently announced as he's directing an Alien movie, which I actually think is shooting right now. It's like very all guerrilla style. And I was really disappointed because I don't think that Fede Alvarez has a good Alien eye. However, he has such a good Evil Dead eye, where then almost every shot in the remake, I was just like blown away. And really, it almost felt like Sam Raimi was behind the camera. And in this one, I mean, there was probably 5 shots maybe that I was like, oh, that's cool. Which, I mean, again, with the remake, I was constantly like, oh my God, that's amazing. Oh my God, that's amazing. Even the one shot that I really loved from the trailer with the girl rising up out of the lake is then ruined because it's a closer shot than in the trailer, and they have the fucking titles behind her coming up in such a weird way, and I hated it.
Oh, I see. I love the title thing because it was reflecting the water. I thought that was a cool thing. I thought it was weird. Oh, I mean, it was weird. But I like the title,
framing.
Actually.
The framing was what I had such an issue with.
I don't know. It didn't bother me, but I guess but it whatever. I mean, I would say it's a weird opening. But I do like the fact that it opens almost on a different aspect of the movie, and I like that it's actually in the movie itself. It's reflecting the water. It's glowing off her skin. I thought that was kind of an interesting concept of making it sort of in the movie. But that's a technical thing. Let's get into spoilers because I can't.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
There's a lot. Well, and actually before spoilers, one last final little thing, and this isn't a spoiler. I really love the high-rise setting, and I absolutely love how they define the exits, so that then when those exits are taken away, you have there's just defined parameters of where these people, the places that these people cannot go, and so that alone made me really, really enjoy the setting because I was a little worried about the setting.
Spatial awareness is good here, but that's also a good director. I agree.
Yeah.
Because essentially there's like two ways out. They, the fire escape, you can't get through their own apartment. No, I mean, in terms of setup, I agree. I actually really like the city setting. I will say my issue though is more with the color palettes. I think, and I almost never say this. This can seem weird for me. A lot of it was too dark and it was too yellow.
It is the most boring looking movie.
Yes.
It is. And I understand too that there's a power outage. I get that. But we've seen in other movies that you can do that and still make it look visually interesting. The visuals and the lack of oomph was my main annoyance, was just because and I think it's because of the Evil Dead remake. It just had me thinking that, and the fact that Sam Raimi has such a visual style that I really wanted there to be a more interesting visual style. And I think that most of the stuff that I'm seeing here is stuff that I see in, like a Netflix movie.
Yeah, Lee Cronin, hopefully I'm saying that guy's name right, the director of this. I actually think he has a good eye. I agree, though. I don't know if he has the best eye for this. I appreciate the 80 split diopters. I love a good split diopter. It makes me happy, gets me off.
I fucking hated that shot.
I love those stuff because that reminds me of Warlock 2 a lot. But
I love them usually. I hated that shot because it was so poorly done. It was digital and it was not done in camera.
Well, I'm not fighting on one fucking shot. I'm just saying, I think those are good shots. There's a couple framings that I like of the one daughter. It was a blanket floating in the back, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, it's cool. But I agree. I actually wrote down that I felt the edge was a little bit dull. That's how I would describe my biggest issue with this, is that when it has some balls, I am happy. And there are times where I was like, I laughed and I went, and that's when it was good in the theater. But a lot of times I was like, it seems a little tame. Like I said, a little dull. Visual shots, just sort of setups, just seemed, and part of me is like, maybe I don't like the apartment. It was funny. I was like, it almost had like and I like Rob Zombie, but it had a very Rob Zombie apartment look. It was like super trashy. And I was like, that's a weird angle to go with, especially like a movie like this.
As someone who has only seen it recently, did you get any Puppet Master vibes? Because of the high rise and like so much, I got a lot of Puppet Master vibes from this.
I didn't, but I mean, in all honesty, I don't know if my mind was on it. I went into this actually like, I went into this actually thinking this is a spiritual sequel to the remake. And that's what I was really hoping for. And I think at times it does try to be that, but I do think a lot of things just seem sort of, it was good. It was good, but it could have been great.
Yeah.
Could have been great. I felt like that was a lot of this movie.
Yeah, we have to get into spoilers because every time there's points that I want to make off of what you're saying, and I'm like, that's technically a spoiler. So I will say right now, this alone is my biggest gripe with the movie. And one thing that really bugged me was just the lack of understanding of basic Evil Dead tropes. One of which is visual manipulation. So a great example is the second film where Ash is carving up his girlfriend and her decapitated head turns normal. and she talks to him just normal.
Yeah, oh, Ash. Yeah.
We don't get that here. All the demons are crazy demonic the whole time, even when they're trying to trick people. There's one moment that made me dislike the youngest daughter so fucking much because of the fact that she's tricked by her mom, who is still in full demon form. They don't make her look innocent. They don't do anything with it, where it was just like, yeah, in another movie, I wouldn't have minded. But in an Evil Dead movie, it's like, have you never seen an Evil Dead before?
Also, the timing of that scene, like maybe like after, like really, if they just rushed the mom out 4 minutes after she turned, it got weird. You could make an argument like, okay, we know what's going on. Maybe the daughter's tricked. But it's like fucking an hour in.
Yeah.
It's like a lot has happened. It's like, yeah, come on, little girl.
It makes her look so dumb.
And also
dumb.
In an apartment that size, I kept getting annoyed that people kept getting left alone. Where it's like this, like they're poor. It looks like a Rob Zombie white trash apartments, spatially, and especially fucking LA. I hate when things are filmed like, because it's like, well, they can't afford that. I know that. So put this in Seattle, but whatever. The little girl was left, like people kept getting left alone for like chunks of time. I was like, I don't want to pick on things, but especially because they're kids. Like if they're adults, yeah, listen, I'm going to go and be with my girlfriend in the room and figure stuff out. Mm-hmm. But leaving a 6-year-old girl to wander alone, or 12, I don't know how everybody looks like the 12 in this. Yeah. Was a little annoying. And that happening at that point, I mean, I thought, here's the thing. I thought that scene was cool. It's a cool scene. She's like getting her daughter and she's like, oh, but daddy's over here. And she looks over and I'm thinking like, okay, well, that's
innocent,
fun.
Go non-demonic. And I like the scene.
I agree. No, I agree. I'm saying that as a scene, it's not bad, but it doesn't make any sense because one, you're right. She's demonic. And two, it happened too late in the movie. So the daughter is already well aware the mother is dead as nails, dead as can be.
Yeah. I could not agree more. And okay, so I don't want to just be negative.
Let's go negative, positive. Name a positive.
So a positive, I actually really enjoyed the vinyl record playing the incantation, because one thing in every single movie that has bugged me is where it's just like they keep reading even after shit starts going crazy. So then the fact that it's like, oh no, he recognizes, like Danny recognizes that shit's going bad and he tries to stop it. And he cannot. And it keeps going. Yeah. Where it's like, yes, I loved that. Again, you don't have, especially in the remake in particular, you're like, what the fuck? Why is this guy still reading from this book? It's very clear that bad shit is happening. So that was so cool. But again, it then reminds me of you mentioning that they're poor. And so why does Danny have this fucking incredible DJ setup?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Good. I know we get a positives. I absolutely agree. I think the record was a really cool idea, especially when they get the third record looking for like a way out. And the guy's like, nah, nope, dismember them, get rid of them. We are so screwed. I was like, that's cool. It's like, we have tried to figure out, no, I like that. But no, him being a DJ was so stupid. This is the first time in an Evil Dead movie I've hated characters, and I think that bothers me. The kids, every one of them, the little girl's fine, but the other two.
Oh, I liked Bridget.
No. They all sucked. I was like, where's my shirt for protesting? It's like, bitch.
Oh.
What?
Yes. I hated that line so much.
Well, okay, so now here's how we're starting off. Is a kid's like a DJ in his room, like, I hate you already. That's a great way to start it. Yeah, let me fix this movie. The mom walks in, right? And the kid is listening to some vinyls. He's playing some Pink Floyd. She goes, hey. Think Adam Hart Motter's pretty good, but, we're a metal family or something. And the kid goes, oh, what, he's a record collector. He's into music. He loves old stuff. He's talking about, whoa. So you're saying, Metal Man in the Sky is not a great song, and then the mother talks like that's all you need to do. But the fact that he's like moving in his room and scratching records, I'm like, I already hate you. And then the daughter is like, I want my protest shirt. I'm like, oh my god, come on, guys, we have 90 minutes. Just be a normal family, innocent kids. I'll care about you. But you annoy me twice right off the bat. I'm like, well, hopefully one of these kids dies.
Yeah, I was shocked at how much I came around to, what the fuck is her name? The guitar technician.
She was cool. Beth.
Yes, I came around to Beth by the end. However, I still was just like, I mostly came around to her just because she was a strong female lead. It wasn't like there weren't specific elements of her character. Like I loved was it Maya from Evil Dead, the Evil Dead remake? I loved her. She was a fucking like heroin addict, and which I know you love.
She's all strung out like sad and miserable. Like, I gotta get out of here. I'm like, oh.
But even the side characters are so much more interesting in that film because every character here is just, they're nothing. They're just like, okay, so it seems like they introduced the neighbors and it seems that, okay, cool, we got more body count, except they kill off all the neighbors in like a 2-minute span.
Well, let's save that because I actually have issues with that scene. Okay. I want to pause it. The mom, Ellie, played by Alyssa Sutherland, I actually thought I loved her. I loved her. Her accent so good. Real quick,
what she was doing Wendy Torrance in The Shining.
Everybody's American accent was so bad in this that I'm going to go around thinking that Dick Van Dyke does a great English accent because fuck you and fuck everybody else. Pardon my French, but as an American or a Canadian, like those are who can do our accents. Yes, but Christian Bale can knock it out because he's a great actor. I can't think of anybody else. Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's really good. But everybody in this, Alita, Beth, Ellie, especially the little one, kept slipping up. I'm like, guys, we got to keep our vowels together. A vowel is how you can tell an accent. And they kept just losing it. I kept hearing the Australian pop up of mom of Ellie and Beth a lot. I'm like, but
I heard it in Beth. Yeah.
No, Ellie slipped up quite a bit. But it doesn't matter because I'm willing to forgive it because I think Alyssa Sutherland was the heart of this movie and she knocked it out. I almost wish she would have been the heroine and that Beth might. I almost think I wish the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
Because I think I really enjoyed Sutherland's performance, and I was like kind of sad to see her go.
Same.
And I was like, oh man, she's like good, but she also got some of the best lines when she's going down Beth's tummy, and she goes, "I'll swallow your soul," and just whose souls? I'm like,
yeah. So yes, Alyssa Sunderland too. I will say that if you are a fan of this movie and her in particular, then follow her on Twitter because she has like 6,000 followers and is posting a bunch of really cool behind the scenes stuff from Evil Dead Rise. So,
and she did well. I mean, she was the lead without being the lead, or she was the second lead, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe it's more appropriate. But I loved her. I loved her, and I thought, I guess I liked Lily Sullivan better than you as Beth. I do think she's a bit cold at first, but I warmed up to her. I think by the end, a little quicker. I think she was good. Those two I liked. I like I said, my big issues with the kids. I think I just felt kind of annoyed, but I also don't really like kids in movies ever.
One thing that really annoyed me about the kids is that, so Danny is the one that sets all of this loose. He's the one that
goes to the bank vault. And
yes, he's the reason for it all. So why the fuck is his sister Bridget? Why does she get a worse fate than Danny? Because she didn't do shit. She gets so much, but she gets so much worse off than Danny, who like it bugged me so much because that's one thing that the remake gets right. That one asshole that sets everything loose, he gets the worst death of the whole movie.
And it's a slow, at the very end, it's like
slow. Yes, and then like honestly, like Danny getting killed is practically a footnote. Like it's not even much of anything.
Yeah, I feel so embarrassed. I mean, I just saw this like an hour ago, so I have so much going in my head. I like that he was his whole bicep stab and he's fighting his sister. What was his demise? What did him in? What's the death?
That's a great fucking question.
so you're saying
exactly? I don't
remember it.
No, exactly. It was so forgettable and just like where it's like, oh, I guess Danny's gone now. Meanwhile, the sister had that whole bit in the kitchen. I don't know.
Glass, that was cool.
Yeah, her chewing on the glass and then she gets set on fire. There was so much more with her where I'm like, why is her so much worse off? Again, it goes back to me being like, they didn't understand Evil Dead, which again is the biggest annoyance for me. Yes.
You are correct on this aspect, but she came off like such a little shit from the first second that I was like, good. Because at least the other kid, like the Danny, the DJ, like he realized real quick he fucked up, and he was like, oh no. But the sister, she's just mean for no reason. Where's my shirt? And the hamper, I gotta clean. I'm like, okay, can we kill her now? What's going on? Even the little girl, it's like stealing scissors. I'm like, dude, Because everybody in this family is just like a douche, you know?
Yeah, I was really shocked too that the scissors came back in a way that didn't get the little girl. I thought they would be brought back to like the little girl gets stabbed in the leg or something.
If they had the balls, they would. Yeah, no, it's just it but I also didn't like that incapacitated the mom a little longer than it should have. Like the scissors stopped the demon for like 15 minutes. I was like, I don't know about that. A lot of things they little things they took. But okay, let's talk about some good stuff. Do you mind? I almost feel like I'm punching down a little too hard.
I'm out of good stuff.
Okay, I'm going to say this has done something that we haven't seen. We're going off a movie, so the TV show doesn't count. Evil Dead 2 did it. Army of Darkness kind of, but Army of Darkness obviously is more of a comedy. I call it the monstrosity aspect of Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2, Henrietta, the giraffe, and stuff, and obviously the monsters that you could see. I love the idea of all the mother and the kids forming one weird beast that just kind of runs around. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like that's kind of stuff in Evil Dead that we've kind of, not really gone back to a lot. I liked that aspect. I thought that was a cool idea of making one big monster. We could argue they could have done more with it, but the
cool
idea
poor execution, I would say.
It follows them down. You wouldn't think the ending kill with that isn't fun. I mean, that's a heart of the movie right there to me.
I would say that whole thing is really poorly done. The CGI is really distracting, especially the last shot of the mother before she goes in. That's some of the worst CGI I've seen in quite a while, and I've watched Marvel movies. Like,
I'm gonna fight you. It's not as bad as fucking that crap I've seen on Ant-Man. But the monster itself, I think, was mostly practical. Or at least if it was CGI, it was done in a way. I didn't mind that. I thought that was kind of cool. I'd liked from Beth realizing she needs to leave up until the end. I actually thought that was the movie I was looking for, because I almost felt a lot of things were tame. But from that point forward, I got the Evil Dead I was looking for, and I thought it was razor sharp. It was mean. And I'm not going to fight you on execution, because in my honest opinion, Lee Cronin, I think is a great director, but I just think he didn't quite nail this, and his changes, though I would always support, didn't always work out for me. But from when she grabs girl to leave, the whole thing in the elevator is perfect. The garage thing I really liked. We could fight on CGI, but that at least what I want in this movie. I want meanness being said. I want over-the-top violence. I want the gore. I want the intensity. I do like the rig where she's like running in it. It's on her. That's kind of stuff I liked. I felt a lot of stuff in the apartment tended to be a little clean. And I keep going back to the bed. I'm so sorry. And this is not the fault of the movie. It's the fault of the marketing. There's one scene that has been talked about, lived up. They gave little trinkets at the festival, and people talk. There's a poster of it. Oh man, I can't really wait for the cheese grater scene.
Oh,
that's it. That's all you got. I was like, dude. But I felt like if the cheese grater scene was in the 2013 version, it would have been more intense. That's what I'm saying about, like, I felt this is something that my mom would be like, oh my God, this is too much. I'm like, you're right, Mom. But for me though, it's good. That's how I describe it. I was like, the scene was good. She fights her, she kicks her up. Okay, fine. But I always felt I wanted more.
Yeah.
Tell me something good. I'm sorry, please. I feel so bad. Give me something good, buddy. Give me something good. Something good.
I enjoyed. I don't know. I don't have anything good, but I have something that I feel like had on my mind the whole time that you were saying something about Lee Cronin, because I feel very lied to with this film, because one of the things that when this entered production, he made a big deal of, like, he had these shoes that then, like, they were like white shoes and then get, covered in blood as it goes along. There's one scene with blood, like, and they made a big deal of, like, we used so much blood on this movie.
It's the last.
Cool. You used it for the elevator scene. It's literally the elevator scene. Cool. Like, you used it for one scene.
And the grinder. The grinder, like, was spraying blood everywhere. I thought that was really cool. Those are the two. But that's what I'm saying, though. From when she grabs the girl to leave the apartment, that to me is the Evil Dead movie I was really hoping for the entire time. That had that sort of vibe.
Because, get rid of that opening, and it takes so long to get going.
Yes, it's a little too long. And the opening is a good example of I don't mind the opening. I think it's good. But why am I watching a good opening? Like when that should be the chef's kiss of the movie. The scalping, okay, cool. But if it was in 2013, it'd be a scalping, the girl's fucking probably pop out. Or it should be stomped on. Or I just felt like the opening is a good example of like, as a scene itself, it's good. It's not bad. I fight you if you said it's bad.
Yeah, I don't say it's bad.
But it's not enough, though. It's just very like, okay. I scalped somebody.
It was a scene.
But the guy went underwater and there was just bubbles. In my movie, it would have shot out fucking 80 gallons of blood and drenched the woman on the dock and almost waterboarded her. Like, that's the movie I want.
They spit out his head. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, fine. But again, maybe if this came out after Army of Darkness, I'd be fine. But Ash vs. Evil Dead and the 2013 remake, I think both in different aspects of this universe nailed the tone and the look and the violence better. I just felt the violence was very serviceable. It's good. It wasn't bad. And I keep coming off like an asshole. It's not.
It's too CGI, though. I noticed way too much CGI.
I mean, here's the thing, man. I'm a little more like, I don't know. I'm far more of what's the sad word? Where people who have given up. I don't know the word. This word for
parents.
No, you remember in the Big Lebowski, the guy's laying in the pool. He's like, oh, he's a nihilist. He goes, must be exhausting. I'm more of a nihilist where I'm like, whatever. I didn't care. I didn't get bothered by it as much as you did, because even if you replace it practically, I still get the same issue, which is things just didn't have the edge that I was used to. For normal movies, this is still pretty awesome and violent, but I'm like, man, I think I went in expecting more. I might, and that's on me. Maybe that we only get an Evil Dead movie seems like every fucking 12 years. So I'm gonna have expectations of something just more edgy. I don't know.
So my big thing is and this was my concern with the trailers, was that I want an Evil Dead movie. I don't want generic possession movie number 17. And that's what I feel like I got here, where yes, it is, the stuff they do is very good, but so much where I'm just like, did it really have to be Evil Dead? Like this is a cool story that then I'm like, make it an original. What's Evil Dead about this?
Well, the tone is Evil Dead. The difference is like, it's just too dull of a tone. Like I'm going to argue, I think they parked the car in the correct garage. They got off on the wrong floor. If this was done by anybody else, I think if Sam Raimi wasn't overseeing this, I don't think it would have had the interesting sort of gore and the sort of insultingness to it. When she talks about, ooh, 2 souls I'm going to suck out, I was like, oh,
I wanted more of that. There wasn't enough.
No, but that doesn't exist in the Pope's Exorcist or anything like that. That's just like, it's like, no. Or the cool collective Dead by Dawn. That stuff, like there's a vibe here. I'm going to fight and say it's an Evil Dead vibe. The guy just didn't nail it. And I think what he brought to it, here's what I meet in the middle. What he brought to it, his own unique vision, I liked, but not for this. So I think the stuff that he changed is the problem, and that the stuff that clearly like he kind of was almost obligated to put in, I think he did fine. But
I like the Dead by Dawn thing. And you had said earlier, you had stopped me on the Neighbors. I want to talk about the Neighbors.
Let me say my piece really quick. I think the idea is great. I think having a scene only through the people, that's cool. Awesome. But you killed off all the other people
right away.
In that scene. And you actually like the kid, there's a kid that gets killed. And I was like, oh, you didn't have the balls. He just flies off screen and gets a wall. No, that's a scene that it should have been one neighbor and it should have been a dismemberment scene on the one focus. Awesome. But you killed 10 people back and forth off screen.
Yeah.
You basically wasted a bunch of kills in a scene that you think is cooler than it is.
Yeah. And I think that scene also shows too that like the humor is not there for me, because they do a thing where one of the boys gets killed by his father's eye popping into his mouth and he chokes on it.
Well, I like the eye thing. I don't like that he died from it. I was like, that's lame.
Same. Yeah.
Like I should and then he spits it out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Some kind of gag.
Yeah, a gag. Yeah.
It was literally once I realized, because when I saw him dead on the floor, I was like, wait a minute, that was it? They weren't leading to something else?
Yeah, he just chokes on the eye. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that part was dumb. And I thought that the earthquake was one of the, again, poor CGI, but just like such a dumb element that just, why do we have this earthquake that is then, we see it like destroying the foundation of this high rise, that then like these kids then just go up into the high rise after. They don't mention to their mom like, we need to get out. The foundation is fucked. You should have seen that.
So here's I'm going to fight you I'm going to agree and fight you at the same time. You're right. Here's the thing. You're wrong because that's a great idea, but they needed to be up in the fucking place already. But then you can't find the Book of the Dead, because I like the idea that the earthquake basically takes out the elevator and the staircase. So it does leave them screwed, but it doesn't make any sense because it happened 20 minutes before and then they just kind of walk up. So like, why don't you just have them find the book somewhere else, get up there, have the earthquake, and now we know that they can't escape. Now they're stuck with the evil. Like that makes sense to me. That's a cool idea. But again, this movie keeps putting things in weird places. Like, why did it happen at the beginning to find the book, of course, but then it doesn't make sense because they get up safely into the apartment and then it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but if you're up there, then I would be more believable that you're screwed. But you kind of, and also pick up the pizza. Like, yeah, it was smashed a
it's
little
perfectly fine.
Yeah, they just left it. I was like, I gotta pick it up. They gotta pick it up.
That was one thing too. That then when the mom, she's like, "I don't care about pizza. I'm just glad you guys are safe." Where all I could think was like, "Bullshit." That mom is struggling and can barely pay for meals. She paid for 3 pizzas right there. Yeah. There's no way she's not annoyed of like, where are the pizzas? Like, where's the food? Like,
this bothers me. I'm a pizza guy. I have pizza pans from Pequod's, Illuminati's, Gino's East, Gulliver's. I mean, I've been stealing pans forever. Why 3? Like that's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shit. 3 large pizzas for that many fucking people. Like that doesn't make any sense. That just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I was like, and also they left it, but they also brought up the record and like, but in the book.
Yeah,
we're carrying stuff anyway. There's 3 of you. Here's the deal. Give the book to the girl. You keep the records, you dork, you DJ dork, doesn't even know good music. Make the bitchy girl who like wants to go protest, make her carry the pizzas. We're all carrying something. We all get up. The mom's happy.
Okay,
like, so I'm like, nobody is going to eat. They didn't eat.
That is one of my favorite things too, is that, so anyone that has collects vinyl, been around vinyl, yes, they're very obsessed with stuff. However, when you find, it's just like when you go to Goodwill and find some dusty old vinyl, you're not finding gold. You're finding like some random guy from the 50s that's crooning. This guy acts like he may have found like a gold mine. It's like, trust me, you did not find like Pink Floyd, or you did not find anything useful.
All they had to do is make him like a vinyl enthusiast, and it wouldn't be that weird, like a Gen Z guy. When I was in high school, I was really into classic rock. That's how I've learned all of my stuff. But the fact that he's like scratching the records, and I was like, and I'm like, I hate you already. All you have to do is have a conversation and be like, I think, I do think that the sort of like transcendental part of like early CCR is interesting, but I do love like the sort of pop rock stuff. It's like, that's all we need. Not just some fucking guy doing this. Like, But again, I'm being picky, man. And this is, I think, something that bothers me is I was never like this anything else of this series. And it's just because it came close. And that's my problem. Like, really, if this was just a terrible movie, I think I'd be having a better time. But it's not a terrible movie. Do you agree?
Oh, I can. That, like I said in the beginning, perfectly fine. Like it's just the same thing too, because it has a very good Rotten Tomatoes score. And I have said a lot of negatives in this. However, my rating would not bring down the Rotten Tomatoes score. It would still be fresh. So it's like,
what's your, okay, what kind of, can we do ratings or too early? What's going on?
No, we can do ratings. Yeah, my rating, it is very, very tough because I do think this is almost kind of an anticipatory rating because it is tough doing these with how close it comes out. I sway a lot. So this is almost me anticipating me liking it slightly more because I'm probably like a 6.7 or something, but that's why I'm like, I'm a soft 7 on this.
Oh, okay. Easy. I'm a 7. And I think the last 20 minutes is an 8, but it's a 7. It's a 7, but I've never rated an Evil Dead movie or anything below an 8 in my life. So a 7's kind of like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 to me are 10s. Evil Dead 1 is a 9. The remake is probably a 9, if not like a 8.9. You know, and I hate using points. Like that's so dorky. But this is a 7. This is a 7. It's good. And again, better than most of anything else I've seen. Most things don't have the balls this does. And even when I bitch about the balls being a little soft.
Yeah, there's certain elements that don't quite nail it, but it's still a good movie. Like I'm not saying it's a poor movie, but it's
see it. Please support this stuff because I actually want more Evil Dead. I do. Yeah. I do. And here's a big thing that's important to me though. I don't want this to continue off this story. I think Evil Dead, if it's not with Bruce, come back and continue off the show or in Darkness. I don't care what you do. With Bruce, that's perfect. But without Bruce, we get these like really dark, mean versions, and I love them. So let's just have another director, another story. I want these to be like mid episodes in the X-Files, you know? The aliens playing baseball during segregation. It looks up and it's like, you know, the gospel song, like, you know, come and go to this left. Like, give me those. Give me soulful little stories, and I'll pick some I love, and maybe some will be 7s. But if it ever goes below 7, it'll be personal. But I don't want more of this family, and honestly, at this point, Mia needs to see in the past. There's gonna be new stuff. I think that's the safest bet.
Yeah.
Because then I could walk away if I get screwed.
Yeah. I have no desire to spend any more time with these characters. So I am right there with you in that, like, no, what we're going to follow Beth and the little girl. Like, no, thank you. The only character that I gave a shit about was the mom.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and
I
she's
like
dead.
Beth more than you. I like Lily Sullivan, but I agree that the mother was, I think, the heart of it. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I guess the neighbor that was smoking, that was like old and grumpy. I
liked him.
Maybe he could have been the guy. You know, I'd follow him like,
I liked him. Yeah, I wish that he had been in it more. And because again, that's a big issue with that. I don't think the characters are fun in any way or relatable. When I came home from this film, I threw on Evil Dead 2 because that was one of the things that people were saying was that tonally this was in between Evil Dead 2 and the remake.
Yeah, that's a fucking lie.
Lie.
Don't lie to my face.
This is like nothing like Evil Dead 2. Nothing.
Here's the thing. So the eyeball scene, but I'm thinking like, what? Like, I guess there was a couple moments of just brief levity, but I agree with you. Even her "come get some" line was really cringy and awkward. I didn't like that at all.
I really liked Bridget as the demon. I think that she had some. I think I liked her delivery, and I also just liked some of the lines she had.
Yeah, the characters were just fine. They're fine. You hate them more than me, it seems, but I would say they're all.
Characters and dialogue are a very big thing for me as a person.
The dialogue was. I don't think dialogue was terrible. I think there's moments, but I don't think the dialogue's bad. No.
I will fight you on that. Yeah.
I mean,
you've already said like the lines with that made you hate the kids, but then the whole guitar technician thing, I hated all of that.
She's a girl. They kept on a groupie.
We got
your legs, you groupie.
We got the payoff. We did get the payoff for the pregnancy, so I appreciated that with the line from Alyssa Sunderland. That's the payoff for me.
That's my favorite part. I cackle.
Agreed.
I cackle. That's good. Especially where I'm from. People are like,
I hate how much characterization comes to, we have this independent person is now pregnant and now she's going to finally become a person. That's what it comes across as.
Yeah, well, that's because we live in a stupid society where it's like, you know, if you don't have, you know, I'm proud not having kids. It's like, it's not my thing. Right? If you want a kid, awesome. Be a good father. Then raise a good kid, make the world a better place. That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's an old fashioned trope, but it's like, you know, she becomes the woman she should be, where it's like, nah, she was cool before. If she's just fucking making a good guitar tech and a cool punk band and having a life of her own, God bless. That sounds great. You know, I'll meet you downtown. I'll go see a show. I mean, fucking play at the Riv, man. Play at the Riv. I'll go see you, hon. I mean, it's a thing that we do. Where it's like, oh, she's a woman now. She's kids. I'm like,
yeah,
she's probably better before. Leave the little girl somewhere and be fine. You know, like, go leave her at the police station. Well, in the end, here's the thing, man. I'm gonna tie it up and say with my thing, it's a good movie. It's a good movie that is a lot sloppier than I would hope it to be, and I don't quite think Mr. Lee Cronin was the best choice, though it doesn't mean he's bad. He's probably did better than I ever could. But the moral of the story is like this always gets close to what I want, but it rarely goes above and beyond delivers. And I would say it's a 7. I think it'll grow on me a little more. Here's the thing: as much shit as I'm talking, I'm going to buy it because, and I'm not a completist. I am not a completist. I have Die Hard 1 and 3 as the good Lord says you should, but I think this is good enough to own. It's good enough to share. It's just one of those, like, it's just not as good. And it's a weird feeling to be at, but I knew this would happen eventually because in life, you always don't know you're at the peak until after. And this is a good example. I hope they make more. And I do hope this is the bottom that we've seen. And if this is the bottom of the Evil Dead franchise, it's still better than most. But we'll see, man. I'm a little surprised. I was hoping to love it. I didn't, but I don't dislike it as much as it seems like I did. I went in this expecting like it. I was like, oh, I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it. There's no way. It's Evil Dead. It's cool. And I was like, oh, it's good. Ah. Like Charlie. Like,
That's been my biggest issue with this, where it's just like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, and that is totally okay for a movie to be. But again, it's Evil Dead. So that makes me disappointed because I want more.
It's a higher curve, my friend.
So for me, Pablo and Kelly are essential. What do you feel like in terms of if there was a new Evil Dead? Do you feel like Pablo and Kelly are essential? For those that are unaware, those are the other two co-leads from Ash versus the Evil Dead.
So it's a really weird line because I would say they're not essential, but that's only if for some reason they continue off of the Army of Darkness original ending timeline. Like that could be the reason. But no. I love those people. I actually saw the girl that played Kelly. She came to a flashback weekend, and I was in line.
She's the best.
Honestly, sweetest girl. I think she's actually Chicago based, but she's a local. But I remember her dad was like the one taking the money, and I was like, "Hey man, I'd love your jacket." He had this like silver jacket, and I had like this big white t-shirt. He goes, "I like how you dress." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to dress casual, live life." He goes, "I'm trying to live life." I'm like, "Hey man, just trying to fucking get by." Yeah, the old Midwestern sort of like chit chat. They're just like, just living life. And he takes off his jacket. He's like, "Man, it's yours." I put it on. It fits great. I look it's like this just gaudy jacket. I am like, I'm looking great. And across the way, she goes, "Dad, stop giving away your goddamn jacket." And I was like, "All right, it's all good." I came back. And then when I got a picture with her, she gave me this big hug. She's like, she goes, I love you even if you're trying to take your jacket. I go, "Well, I look good in it." She goes, "You did." I go, I did. And then, we took the picture up. I'll probably pop it up. But no, I mean, I love the show so much that I prefer it. But it also, the show could continue, or the movie could continue off that timeline that Sam Raimi did set up, because Sam Raimi did set up Pablo and Kelly. So I think it's fine. I just don't want to say essential as in like it's a make or break, because I would still take Evil Dead with Bruce. And
essential
Sam.
Is a loaded word. Sorry.
Yes. But I mean, how about this? I don't see him not doing it because Sam invented the trio. And just real quick, I know this is a long episode. I apologize. How cool it was that a show can take a character like Ash and introduce two new people who should have failed. Who are you? Who do you think you are, introducing new characters that are going to be equals? But
they nailed it.
It was wrong. They nailed it.
I'm so blown away by that show.
Yeah, it's the best pilot of all time. I would put up there with Lost and Twin Peaks.
Breaking Bad, even, yeah.
Oh, I know it's superior. Breaking Bad got better, but those first 6 episodes are a little slow. No, dude, he's at the bar. And the guy's like, we close in 10 minutes. He goes, two of the ladies are, or whatever he says. And he's talking to the girl. He's talking about save the kid's life. And he goes, but sometimes kids on a railroad track get saved. And she goes, "You saved him?" He goes, "Well, I think that he saved me." And he goes, "Hey, hard cuts." He's in the bathroom getting her doggy style. I was like, it's
amazing.
Yeah, it's the best pilot. It's really just it tonally, it's everything.
Yeah.
So, long story short, because it's been quite a long me babbling here. It's not essential, but I think it would be the best move, and it would make me the happiest.
I'm right there with you. I'll pop it up on screen right now. I wish I had it with me. It's downstairs, but I have the Evil Dead. It's Groovy edition. It has the 4K editions of Evil Dead 1 and 2 and the whole Ash versus the Evil Dead series.
Is that in 4K as well?
No, Ash vs. Evil Dead is just Blu-ray.
Okay.
But it still looks fucking phenomenal. And I watched those this past October, and I literally in a row, I watched everything, and it is so good. it's so much fun. I had never watched, like, for some reason I fell off with the third season and wasn't able to watch it. So then this was my first time with the third season, and
That's good. It's great.
It's such a great bookends to the show, like just for the series, that then it is one of those uncomfortable things, because technically 3 ends on a weird thing where it essentially is putting Ash in the future.
Yes, so, it ends in a way where, like, you want to see it continue, because I want to see him kicking ass in the future in a post-apocalyptic land, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then that makes it difficult for a Evil Dead with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, because then they're like, well, do we do this? Do we do that?
But you know that Sam had this whole interview where he was saying that he would like to do a movie where, like, those 2 endings both happened, and he follows, like, both sort of universes. Like, what if he slept too long? What does that look like? And that the S-Mart ending, which he could easily just tie into the show.
Yeah, I mean we've already seen Sam directed the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, so I'm sure that got his brain pumping in terms of, like, well, I'm not tied down to this timeline or that timeline. I can pay homage to all of it, which is great, because I know that there's some people that they really love the original ending for Army of Darkness, and people that love the theatrical ending, which I will tell you right now, I'm with you. I like the S-Mart ending.
It's a cool ending. I don't no offense. Like, if somebody loved the original ending better, I would be like, you're not into, like, heart and soul and sort of, you know.
But you bring up a good point in terms of the Evil Dead 1 and 2 ending on a similar note, where if it's just a trilogy, that is a perfect, like, end for that trilogy.
It makes sense tonally, but the argument I always make is that Ash has been through so much shit. I also would fight that it makes sense that he finally gets a win. Yeah. It's a culmination of the character. So yes, it's a great Ash ending, but as a series, no. But but the beauty of Evil Dead is that it's such loose, weird content anyway. They keep changing shit and making things up. So whatever new movie they ever do, just change something. I don't care. Like, I'm okay. I'll live another day.
I could not agree more. And we need to end this one, because this is going to be an absolute beast to edit. And so
I'm hoping you cut a lot of this out. Cut this down, man.
Oh, trust me. Everyone's going to be like, ooh, an hour, 15-minute episode. Hell yeah.
No way. No, I said something mean somewhere, you know.
Oh, no, trust me. This is going to be all in there. But
yeah, good.
So I think we pretty much finish it up with Evil Dead. Next week, I will be covering The Pope's Exorcist, and we'll have special guest John Fallon. You guys might know him. Yeah, it should be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But also, for the month of May, there's not a ton of new horror releases. So down in the comments, make sure to recommend some recently released horror films. This can be anything that was released in the last, like, 5 years. Just, recommend it down below. Also, recommend the guests that you might want to see talk about that episode, just because I want to know if you're like, oh, I want to see Lance talk about this, or I want to see John talk about this. It just helps me figure out as to what you guys want specifically. So please let me know, because it should be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll tell you right now, next week's episode is really fun, because it may or may not already be recorded.
I hope to see you soon, man. I don't know if I'm going to visit anything else, but if not, thank you for having me on, man. I always want to talk Evil Dead, so this is always a good time.
Oh, I can tell you guys, Lance will be on. He doesn't even know it. He'll be on in a couple weeks. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it then. But thank you so much for joining me, and you guys take it easy.